Have you ever wondered why some things in your life just don't seem to work out, even when you put in the effort? Why, despite your best efforts, do you feel like something is holding you back, like you're stuck in a loop of repetitive thoughts and actions? You may have asked yourself, why can't I succeed in doing that thing I've been dreaming of for so long? Well, the truth is that it's not just our actions that determine success or failure, but also the way we think. Our thoughts shape our lives more than we realize. We are what we think. The thoughts we feed each day become our reality, whether we are aware of it or not. But there's a catch here. Many of the thoughts that guide our lives are not conscious choices, but deeply held beliefs taken from childhood, past experiences, or what others have told us is possible for us. These are called limiting beliefs. It's those thoughts that tell us what we cannot do, even when, objectively, we are perfectly capable of succeeding. In today's video, we'll explore what these limiting beliefs are, how they affect us, and most importantly, how we can identify them and replace them with ones that support us in reaching our full potential. So, if you feel that your life can be more than it is now, stay with me and let's discover together the incredible power that thoughts have over your life. To understand how our thoughts work, we must first clarify what limiting beliefs are. Limiting beliefs are those ideas and beliefs we have about ourselves and the world that block or hold us back. They tell us, for example, that I'm not good enough to succeed, I can't have a successful relationship, or I'll never be rich because money is hard to earn. They are the negative phrases that we repeat to ourselves so often that we have come to believe them without questioning them. But, and here comes the important part, these beliefs do not necessarily reflect reality. They are merely interpretations, often distorted, of our past experiences. For example, if you were frequently criticized by your parents or teachers as a child, you may develop the belief that you are not good enough, that you will never be capable enough. In reality, their criticism may not have been fair or related to your true potential, but your mind absorbed that message and turned it into an inner barrier. These limiting beliefs act as filters through which we see the world. When faced with a challenge, our mind runs everything through these filters. If we have learned to believe that we are not good enough, then even the smallest failures will reinforce that belief. We will say to ourselves, see, I knew I wasn't up to it. But if we had different beliefs, we could look at the same situations from a completely new perspective. Positive beliefs might tell us, okay, I failed now, but that means I've learned something and I'll succeed next time. That's why it's so important to understand that these limiting beliefs are not absolute realities. They are just stories we tell ourselves. And like any story, they can be rewritten. When we identify them and realize how they affect us, we can begin to replace them with thoughts and beliefs that support us, motivate us, and propel us towards success. This process of rewriting beliefs can be transformative. Now that we know what limiting beliefs are, the next step is to understand how they are formed. The truth is that most limiting beliefs are formed in childhood or during significant life experiences. Our minds, especially when we are children, are extremely receptive to the messages around us. Parents, teachers, friends, and even culture or society influence our thoughts and perceptions of the world. For example, maybe you grew up in an environment where financial success was considered difficult to achieve. You may have often heard expressions like, money doesn't grow on trees, or only rich and privileged people can be successful. These messages, whether spoken intentionally or unintentionally, begin to take root in your subconscious. Over time, you become an adult, and you may not even be aware of them anymore, but they still guide your actions. Limiting beliefs can also arise from painful experiences. For example, if you failed at something important to you at an early stage in life, your mind might interpret this failure as evidence that you are not good at it. With each similar experience, this belief is strengthened. Instead of seeing failure as an opportunity to learn and grow, you begin to identify with that failure. Thus, every time you encounter a similar situation, you will enter that mental pattern, telling yourself, I am not able to do this, In addition to personal experiences and messages from the immediate environment, the society and culture we live in play a huge role in shaping our beliefs. Standards of beauty, success, wealth, and personal worth are often imposed by media or cultural norms. If you feel like you don't measure up to those standards, you may develop limiting beliefs about your personal worth or your potential for success. It is important to understand that all these beliefs are not universal truths. They are just perceptions that have accumulated over time and which, unfortunately, shape our decisions and actions without our being aware of them. But the good news is that any formed belief can be changed. The more aware you become of the origins of these limiting thoughts, the more control you have over them and over your life. Now that we know what limiting beliefs are, the next step is to understand how they are formed. The truth is that most limiting beliefs are formed in childhood or during significant life experiences. Our minds, especially when we are children, are extremely receptive to the messages around us. Parents, teachers, friends, and even culture or society influence our thoughts and perceptions of the world. For example, maybe you grew up in an environment where financial success was considered difficult to achieve. You may have often heard expressions like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "Only rich and privileged people can be successful." These messages, whether spoken intentionally or unintentionally, begin to take root in your subconscious. Over time, you become an adult, and you may not even be aware of them anymore, but they still guide your actions. Limiting beliefs can also arise from painful experiences. For example, if you failed at something important to you at an early stage in life, your mind might interpret this failure as evidence that you are not good at it. With each similar experience, this belief is strengthened. Instead of seeing failure as an opportunity to learn and grow, you begin to identify with that failure. Thus, every time you encounter a similar situation, you will enter that mental pattern, telling yourself, "I am not able to do this." In addition to personal experiences and messages from the immediate environment, the society and culture we live in play a huge role in shaping our beliefs. Standards of beauty, success, wealth, and personal worth are often imposed by media or cultural norms. If you feel like you don't measure up to those standards, you may develop limiting beliefs about your personal worth or your potential for success. It is important to understand that all these beliefs are not universal truths. They are just perceptions that have accumulated over time and which, unfortunately, shape our decisions and actions without our being aware of them. But the good news is that any formed belief can be changed. The more aware you become of the origins of these limiting thoughts, the more control you have over them and over your life. Identifying limiting beliefs is an essential step in the process of mindset transformation. But how do you do this? First, you need to become aware of your thought patterns. It may seem complicated, but there are some simple methods you can use to start discovering them. A first step would be to ask yourself questions that challenge you. For example, when faced with a challenge, ask yourself, "What am I saying in my mind about this situation?" If the answers are like, "I'm not capable enough for this," "There's no point in trying," "I'll fail," or "It's too difficult for me," then you've discovered a limiting belief. Often these responses come in the form of automatic thoughts, almost like a reflex. It is these thoughts that need to be investigated and changed. Another way to identify limiting beliefs is to notice your repetitive behaviors or self-sabotaging patterns. Every time you put off an important action or give up before you really try, ask yourself, what belief is behind this behavior? Maybe behind procrastination is a belief like, "I'm not ready," or "I won't succeed, so I better not try." Every time you stumble upon these blocks, stop and examine your thoughts. Ask yourself, what story am I telling myself now about myself? Another useful exercise is to frequently write down your thoughts in a journal. When you feel stuck or discouraged, write down everything that comes to mind. Then analyze those thoughts and try to look at them objectively. Some of them will certainly be clear indications of limiting beliefs. For example, if everything you've written in your journal revolves around the idea that "I'm not worth enough" or "I don't deserve to be successful," you've just identified a belief that's holding you back. Another aspect to pay attention to is your emotions. Usually, strong negative emotions such as fear, anxiety, sadness, or lack of confidence are clear signals that there is a limiting belief in the middle. When you feel fear in the face of a challenge, ask yourself, what exactly am I afraid of losing? What do I think about myself in this situation? Our emotions are a great guide to identifying those thoughts that hold us back. Identifying limiting beliefs takes time and honesty with yourself, but it's a crucial step. Once you become aware of these beliefs, you have the power to change them and rewrite your story. This awareness is the key to transformation and liberation from the limitations we have imposed on ourselves, often without realizing it. Once you've identified your limiting beliefs, the next step is to replace them with beliefs that support you in achieving your goals. This is a process that requires patience and constant practice, but the results can be extraordinary. Let's discuss some powerful strategies that can help you make this change. The first step is to reframe limiting thoughts. Every time you identify a belief that is holding you back, ask yourself, is this belief an absolute truth or just a subjective interpretation? Many times, you will find that there is no hard evidence to support your limiting belief. Once you realize this, you can begin to reframe that belief in a positive way. Let's take an example. If you have a belief like I'm not good enough to be successful, you can replace this thought with a more realistic and constructive one like, I have the ability to learn and improve myself every day. This subtle change in the way you think can make a huge difference in the way you feel and act. Another highly effective tool is positive affirmations. Affirmations are simple, direct sentences that reprogram your mind, helping you adopt a more positive mindset. You can start each day by repeating affirmations like I am capable and deserve success, I am worthy of love and respect, or I am able to achieve all my goals. The key is to repeat these affirmations constantly, even if you don't fully believe them at first. Over time, your mind will begin to accept these new beliefs and integrate them into your everyday thinking. Visualization is another extremely powerful technique for replacing limiting beliefs. When you think about success or your goals, visualize yourself living the life you want, as if you are already there. Mental images have incredible power over our subconscious. If you can clearly imagine what your life looks like without those limiting beliefs, your mind will begin to create new neural connections to support that reality. Visualize yourself every day being successful, feeling confident and free from doubt. Over time, your mind will begin to react differently to challenges and act on these new beliefs. Action is also crucial to changing beliefs. Once you've started reframing your thoughts and using affirmations and visualization, start taking concrete steps toward your goals. Even the smallest actions matter. Every small success you achieve will reinforce your new beliefs and help you build confidence in yourself. For example, if you think you are not good enough at something, try to take a small step in that direction. Positive results will help you rewrite your story. The process of replacing limiting beliefs is an ongoing one. It takes patience and a consistent approach, but with each day you practice these techniques, you'll feel your mindset change and the obstacles become smaller and smaller. Remember, beliefs are just thoughts we repeat, so the more you repeat the new beliefs, the more they will become a part of you. To better understand how this process works, let's look at a concrete example. Imagine the case of James, a man who grew up believing that he was not smart enough to succeed in his career. This belief was instilled in him by his parents and teachers at school, who often told him that he wasn't meeting expectations. Throughout his life, James internalized this message and came to believe that he would never be able to reach a leadership position or follow his dreams. However, one day James decided to start working on his personal development. He began observing his thoughts and analyzing his behavior. He realized that every time he faced a challenge at work, the voice in his head would say, "I'm not smart enough for this." After identifying this limiting belief, James made a decision to replace it. He began repeating positive affirmations daily, like "I can learn anything I need to," and "My intelligence grows as I put in the effort." In parallel, James began visualizing his success. Every morning, he imagined what it would feel like to be promoted, to lead a team, and to achieve his professional goals. He also started taking small, concrete actions, such as enrolling in training programs and getting more involved in projects at work. Over time, he noticed a change. His managers began to acknowledge his contributions, and his colleagues started seeking his advice. After several months, James received a promotion. This transformation didn't happen overnight, but James managed to radically change the course of his professional life. He replaced a deep-rooted limiting belief with one that empowered him and opened up new opportunities. His story shows that no matter how ingrained these beliefs are, they can be changed. The key is to take responsibility for your thoughts and create a new reality for yourself, one step at a time. The same applies to other areas of life, whether it's relationships, career, health, or self-esteem. Any limiting belief can be changed. It all starts with awareness and action. If James succeeded, you can do the same. All you need is determination and the desire to rewrite your story. An essential aspect in the discussion of limiting beliefs is the role that our subconscious mind plays. The subconscious mind is that part of our mind that works in the background without us being aware of it. It is like a storehouse of thoughts, emotions, and experiences, which influence how we react to the world around us. About 95% of our daily actions and decisions are guided by the subconscious mind. Therefore, many of the limiting beliefs are deeply rooted in this part of the mind. How do these beliefs reach the subconscious? They are usually formed by repetition. Every time we hear or have a similar experience, our subconscious registers the information and turns it into a pattern. If, for example, a child frequently hears that he is not good enough, his subconscious mind will absorb this message and transform it into a deep belief that will manifest throughout his life. Fortunately, just as they were formed, beliefs can also be changed. Every time you repeat a new thought or belief, your subconscious will record it. Over time, this new thought pattern will become automatic and replace old beliefs. This is why repetition is so important in the process of reprogramming the mind. Through positive affirmations, visualization, and consistent action, you can send your subconscious new messages to support you on your way to success. Another way to work with the subconscious is through meditation and deep relaxation techniques. When we fully relax, the conscious mind enters a state of stillness and the subconscious mind becomes more receptive to new suggestions. By practicing meditation or guided relaxation, you can begin to intentionally plant in your subconscious those beliefs that support you. The role of the subconscious in this process is crucial. He is like fertile soil in which you can plant any seed you want. The question is, what kind of seeds do you choose to plant? Our inner dialogue, that voice in our mind that always accompanies us, has a huge impact on our lives. The thoughts we constantly repeat shape how we feel and ultimately how we act. But how many of us are really aware of what we say to ourselves on a daily basis? Often our inner dialogue is full of criticism, doubt, and negative judgments. Whether we realize it or not, these thoughts become our core beliefs. For example, if you find yourself saying, "I can't do this, I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve success," these thoughts will directly influence the way you approach life. Instead, if you replace this negative dialogue with a positive one, you'll begin to feel significant changes in your attitude and behavior. To change this inner dialogue, the first step is awareness. You have to be careful what you say to yourself constantly. Try to observe your thoughts without judging them. You can even write down your most frequent negative thoughts in a journal to analyze them later. After you have identified them, ask yourself, is this thought helping or hindering me to move forward? If the answer is that it's limiting you, it's time to replace it. Another important step is to become your own best friend in your inner dialogue. Think, if a close friend was going through a difficult situation, how would you talk to them? You certainly wouldn't tell him you're not good enough. Instead, you would give him support, encouragement, and show him that he is capable. You should do the same for yourself. Start giving yourself self-compassion and encouragement. Instead of harsh criticism, In addition, it is important to automatically replace your negative thoughts with positive ones. Every time you catch a negative thought, immediately replace it with a constructive one. If you say to yourself, "I can't do this," change it to "I have the resources to learn and succeed." It's a process that takes practice, but with time, your mind will adopt a new way of thinking. SE and replace them. It's time to take the first step toward transformation. Remember, we are what we think. Your thoughts have the power to create your reality, but they also have the power to limit it. The decision to change what you tell yourself every day is in your hands. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start right now. Identify a belief that has been holding you back and apply the techniques discussed: reframing, positive affirmations, visualization, and concrete action. The first step is the hardest, but every small change brings you closer to the best version of you. Try these methods and see how they change your perception, energy, and results. And if you need guidance or support, I'm here to support you along the way. Leave me a comment with your thoughts, questions, or experiences, and let's chat. You have the power to rewrite your story, and the first chapter begins now. Thank you for being with me and investing time in yourself. I look forward to hearing how you turn your thoughts into the reality you deserve. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. See you next time with new ideas and inspiration to reach your full potential.